I call to order the Adrian City Commission meeting for June 16th, 2025. If everyone would please rise for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Present.
Commissioner Roberts,
Present.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Present.
Commissioner Banky, Commissioner Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Present.
Commissioner Gauss.
Present.
All commissioners, members present with the exception of Commissioner Banky.
May I get a motion to excuse Commissioner Banky?
So moved. Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Gauss with a second from Commissioner Miller. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Mayor Heath.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Welcome back, Commissioner Schwartz.
Feedback.
May I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Castleberry and a second from Commissioner Gauss. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now it is time for public comment regarding items on the agenda. If you wish to speak inside the city chambers, you just please come up to the podium and please state your name and address, or no, sorry, it used to be that, your name and place of residence. And if, just to reiterate, there is a 3-minute time limit, which you will see on the screen. Once we have exhausted all public comment inside the city chambers, we will then open it up to the Zoom participants. We will begin now for items on the agenda.
Hello, my name is Chris Jacobson. I'm a resident in the city of Adrian. And excuse me, come to you today on behalf of one of the city's most premier cannabis companies and Amazing Buds. I appreciate the opportunity to have public comment today to follow up on the letter that I sent you commissioners regarding the hours of operation, wherein we learned that our local competitor that is newly opened in Eden East, straight down the street by the fairgrounds, they being in Madison Township are able to be open till 11 p.m. And are doing so. And so our company feels at a disadvantage in comparison to this business and in other localities throughout the state, such as Monroe, Jackson, Ann Arbor, New Buffalo. The cannabis industry is a very volatile, super duper, ultra competitive industry. And we need to make sure that we're on a level playing field. From the city of Adrian's perspective, it should be a big win, not only for tourism and revenue, which we have helped contribute greatly with out-of-town traffic, I may add, but in a labor perspective as well. Up to 14 hours, being able to be open 2 hours later each day. That is 14 hours there and maybe another half hour to complete closing routines. We've made sure that we've been a world-class business and doing everything compliantly and by the book, and we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to compete and do good things. So you guys have my contact information if you have any questions or concerns that you would want to correspond through. But I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and bring this issue to attention. Thank you.
Hearing no more public. Oh,
My name's Chip Moore, residents of Adrian. I'm here to discuss what you have on the agenda today at page for the administration R25040, resolution to adopt a policy procedure for the entry of names onto Monument Park. I'd like to speak before you discuss this because I was looking at the policy, and I know it says in the moments here, commissioners may not respond to public comment, but I was just wondering if I could get a show of hands. Has all the commissioners seen the Civil War monument? Okay. It's a park. It's not a memorial. I'm a Desert Storm vet, and I'm looking at this policy. It's been without a policy for over 200 years. The mayor or the city manager has worked with the individuals, because if you look at the memorial on the Civil War monument, it was given by the citizens of Adrian, not by the city commission. They raised money for it, and they put it up. And now it needs maintenance. So what did somebody do in this community? They raised money for it. Because I don't think that the taxpayers, they don't want to use to spend the money. Just like, I don't know how many years ago it was the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. There was a corporation that raised money for the maintenance of that monument. No one disagreed what was going on, and they got advertising for what they did. So my proposal, what I'd like you to do, because since you've already been down there, because my understanding is that some people didn't want corporate or the bricks that were supposed to be put out for advertising at the base of the monument. But to me, it's a moot point, because if you all been down there since 1870, there's been advertising on the bricks. So I'm not sure what the big deal is. So I would like to propose you withdraw that proposal. I'm a Republican. I know Mrs. Casey Bolton is a Democrat. I'm not sure. Her idea was to show atonement or reconciliation during the Civil War, because the Confederacy has never apologized for what they did. But I'm willing to work with her. I know since COVID, the price has gone up, and I'm willing to raise money for the additional money to raise that, as long as we can continue what they've been doing since 1870, advertising on the bricks. Thank you very much.
Hearing no more public comment inside the chambers, we will now open it up to the Zoom participants. Hearing no more public comment, we will move on to proclamations, and we have a Juneteenth proclamation. Hopefully, many of you were able to come down for the celebration that happened this past Saturday, and celebrating, and also to remind you, before I read this proclamation, that City Hall is also closed on Thursday, June 19th, in honor of the holiday. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years to June 19th, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas Emancipation Day observations are held on different days in different states in the South and Southwest and in other parts of the nation. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. Now therefore I, Mayor Angela Heath, Mayor of the City of Adrian, Michigan, do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth in Adrian and urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and our city. This will be on display in City Hall outside the mayor's office for until the end of June, until we enter July, from now until then. So just wanted to let you know that as well. Moving on to our informational discussion topics. First up, we have the vacant building ordinance update.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, our Community Development Director, Lisa Hewitt-Cruz, has a presentation for you.
Well, maybe. Okay, are we on? All right. Good evening. Thanks, Mayor and Commissioners, for allowing us to give you a little bit of information and update on the vacant property ordinance. I've met with our team. We had a lengthy discussion. There are some things you'll see in here that need to be changed or updated per the ordinance, but we'll go through some details, and at the end, we'll follow up with some progress that we're making inside our department. So this is our Article 5, Section 10. It was updated November of last year. The fee schedule was, so you'll see that as we go through the presentation as well. The purpose and goals of the vacant property inspection program for both residential and commercial is to improve the public safety and the neighborhood preservation, property values, economic development, and reduce blight. Hold property owners accountable for what investments they have in our community so that they don't deplete assets from our neighbors. Economic and social impacts, these are more on the negative side. Reduce tax revenue as your property depreciates, that's less money. Tax revenue coming in, increased public safety cost, and diminished nearby property values. Crime is attractive nuisance, and then public health concerns. Our registration and initial inspection that was adopted last year is $200 for each residential unit, unless it's multifamily housing, and then it's an additional $20 per unit over the one unit, and then $600 for the per building for commercial for registration and initial inspection. Oh. Went too far. Monitoring inspections. So this is a program that's every year, monitored every year. That's $100 plus $10 for each additional unit if it's multifamily. And then for commercial, it's $300 for the monitoring inspections. And if you have any reuse or reoccupancy inspections, if you're wanting to do that, then it's $100 and $10 for each additional and $300 per building. So very same thing as monitoring. Securing vacant properties, we charge for whatever it costs us to board up that property if we do need to secure the property. And then any late payment fees are $100. If the property is vacant more than 6 months, we would need to consult with the building official to make sure that it doesn't have any zoning compliance issues as well. And then after 3 years of property as being vacant, we inspect it every 6 months. Oops, wrong. I'll get it eventually. Okay. It's going a little fast. So since January of this year, we have identified 16 commercial properties and 39 residential properties. These numbers will probably continue to grow, but the goal is to be 0 and 0. The goal is to get it to where there are none that are being addressed. So you will see over time, as I report back 6 months from now, this might double, but as we go through the summer months, we hope to those will be on the decline. Okay, Michelle, are we both maybe doing it at the same time? Who knows? Identifying vacant properties. How do we identify vacant properties? We're basically, when we're out and about looking around, if we identify a vacant property, then we take a closer look at that. But also when properties are foreclosed upon or repossessed by the banks, they let us know, and the third-party contractors do go out and address that right away. The registration and inspection process, that after the inspector registers the vacant property, they will address mostly in the beginning the exterior issues. If it's commercial, then we have to wait and find out what the interior is going to be like. We can't make somebody bring it up to a certain code when we're not sure what the future business is going to be built out to be. In some cases, the property is beyond repair and we make that determination, like one property you will see in this slideshow that is beyond repair, and we are going to start a demolition process on that, which is here, just a few blocks away. And then removal from the vacant property registration form is a process that we go through within our division to, if it's not being used for its currently recognized use, it can be removed from the vacant property registration, or it just gets reoccupied. Someone moves back into that property for a single family and then removes that from the list. Failure to register or schedule an inspection, that becomes a civil infraction matter that we would pursue through the court system. That process is quite lengthy. It can take up to several months for us to complete that process. And unpaid registration and inspection fees, if they remain unpaid, the ordinance does allow us to put that on the tax rolls as a special assessment and secure those funds at that time. Demolition, some of the successes that we've had, this is a gas station that's across from Comstock Park that is no longer there. So we've addressed this property and removed that blight. This one is on the corner of Church and Tecumseh Street. That one also removed. The concrete still remains, but the building is gone. This is the Charlotte Stevenson home. I guess most know it by that. Behind the post office, it's currently being tagged. It's being entered by youth. And so we have met with the property owner and we are pursuing a demolition order on this particular property. So that will start soon. The property is no longer salvageable. The roof is leaking, has severe leaks. Commercial vacant just across the street, the old Big Boy, currently in negotiations with a real estate company, and our zoning administrators working with them to make sure that they meet all zoning requirements in order for reuse, as far as fencing and dumpsters and those sorts of things. Residential, this is on Maumee Street. This is before and after, and this particular property, we issued a ticket on the property as part of the vacant property inspection process. There's interior and exterior work that's currently being done and resolved, and the exterior is currently being done at this time. This one's on Hunt Street. This particular house was in noncompliance for many, many years, as you can see on the left-hand side. And with our team's constant follow-up to this particular property, we were able to get them to the owner, the original owner sold to a developer, and then they have remodeled it and flipped it and brought it back on the tax rolls. Budlong Street, this one, again, a Fannie Mae project that the team worked with to get this one demolished. Then the second picture is your vacant lot, and this is currently what's being reconstructed on its same site. So we'd like to see a little bit more of this as time goes by, especially in our residential areas. And Beecher Street is also a Fannie Mae project. They realized with the first one that they had that we were serious and took it upon themselves to complete the process of having that property demolished and is ready for new construction. So the next things on the agenda, on our request, is we've taken a look at the ordinance itself, and these are a few things that we'd like the commission and mayor to look at to see if we can change. Properties wherein the owner spends a portion of the year residing at another address, we'd like to add language that identifies that verification of partial residency could include utility bills, voter registration, mail, and official documents like driver's license, bank statements, because that's not in the ordinance. So it's kind of hard for us to determine how we verify if it is a part-year residence outside of the homestead. So that is one. The second one is for properties located within the boundaries of the Downtown Development Authority's development area, the windows of vacant street level space shall be covered with an approved decorative treatment that mimics an active storefront. So we would like to recommend that we would approve 5 various drawings to be used for this purpose in the downtown the downtown, but along with the DDA's acknowledgement, review, and approval as well, that we want them to be part of that process. And a couple examples are this one, and I know we had a few on the buildings that were recently demolished that were great ideas too. So this is just an example of what we're talking about, not just a vacant storefront. And then fire or storm damage property, we had 90 days as the amount of time between a fire and then when they have to secure a permit for construction or demolition. And we don't feel like that's a reasonable amount of time, that we'd like to go to 120 days. Going through the insurance process can be quite a lengthy period of time. So to give them a little bit more time, we'd like to request 120 days. And then for requested reuse and occupancy, no vacant structure shall be reoccupied until inspected and found to be in compliance with the current building code. We have a word that just needs to be changed from occupancy to compliance. It is not a certificate of occupancy like you would obtain for new construction. We just want it to be in compliance with this ordinance. So just requesting permission to change that occupancy to compliance. And the fee for a right to appeal is incorrect in our ordinance. It's $200 and we have listed there $150. So we'd like to request permission to change that as well. Any questions about those before I finish up real quick? No? Okay. So just an update on the accomplishments in our division. I know this might be a little bit hard to see, but we've had 28 Boulevard grass leaf pickup. We've had 148 trash, 225 violations for tote bins, and this is this is from January 1st until now. We have had 70 municipal ordinance violations, 129 property maintenance violations, 148 sidewalk snow, 77 weeds, and 63 zoning ordinance violations, which is a total of 888 actions that our staff and team have accomplished since January of this year to address some of the blight and just ordinance issues. And the last couple slides that I have, just an update on the Adrian Mall demolition. I've met with the project managers. They're from New York over the last couple of weeks, along with code enforcement. And they are asking for an extension of their demolition, but they are actively working inside. And for optics reasons, we did ask if they would remove the front canopy that says Adrian Mall on it, and with that, so we can start to see things happening. The goal is that there will be a wall created in between the old food court and the area just to the right of where it says Adrian Mall, all the way down to Ollie's, will be demolished. So we did provide them with the 1970s blueprints so they could design this wall and knew what was constructed there first. So on the inside will be gutted. Then in the second week of August, they will start that new wall, and then shortly thereafter, the outside walls will come down. So they're making a slower progress than what we wanted, but we don't want to have to slow it down by taking any court action. So we've come up with a plan to keep the project moving. And also stay tuned for some really exciting news in regards to this mall. Well, we still call it the Adrian Mall, but there's going to be some projects going on to give it new life and new name that we'll announce at a later date. And community development update on this one is the Citgo gas station. This is on Siena Heights Drive, and I know you've probably seen it with a fence around it for a very, very long time. In the last week, we did issue them a building permit finally, and they will be getting started on that new construction here very soon. So that was a long time in the making. This particular property is at the corner of Michigan and George Streets, and the property owner, we conducted, the fire department, myself and our building code official, conducted an on-site inspection on this property last Thursday. We found numerous safety concerns, code violations, work being done without permits, quite a long list of zoning and ordinance violations. And so this property is not allowed to be used until further notice. Occupancy is permitted on this particular property. What do you do if you notice a vacant property? You can call me, you can email myself or anybody on our staff. Our information is available online. There's some new things to come between a partnership with Siena Heights College, Adrian College, and the Community Development Division. And we will bring that back to you with an update and also a report on, they will report back to you in the end of November to the City Commission on things that they have found in their study that we're going to start. So that's all I have. Any questions?
No.
Yes, yes. You can bring it up in public comment later, though. You can.
Lisa, I really appreciate that you are willing to work with, especially the Adrian Inn and other people to make it work for them and not just say, no, you have to do it now. I think that's a misconception that is oftentimes, we see those deadlines, and yes, we have to have the deadlines, but we realize there's always exceptions to the rule. And as long as you're working and speaking with the city, we'll work with you.
I agree.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I would like to hear from the audience after the meeting. A lot of the things that I see and I report, I think it's a matter of education. I don't know if people really know some of the rules that are happening, that we have, and then, you know, how tall weeds can be, what they can have in their yards. You know, all of the various infractions that we've talked about tonight. So we've talked about this many, many times, but how do we make sure the people that have moved in here, have lived here in Adrian for years, understand that there are community rules, community standards that we'd like to hold people accountable. So right now is not a time for audience participation, but I'd be willing to listen to anyone after the meeting if you have any ideas on how to get information out to people. I'm sure anyone up here would, not just me.
Moving on to our next topic, marijuana dispensary hours discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. This subject has come up before. A couple months ago it was brought up, and I think most of you received the correspondence from Amazing Buds, and I've talked to a couple of you that seem to be in favor of a change, so I've asked to place this on the agenda to give you space to discuss that option. If that's something you want to pursue or not, we can make those changes.
I know I'm one of the commissioners that asked to bring this forward as a discussion. I am in favor of extending the hours for a couple of reasons. I have several younger friends who either worked in the business or have visited these businesses. And one of the things they said is that there's not a ton of traffic at that time of night. It will help with some of the traffic. And I do think that the competition from having one in Madison Township could hurt some of the local businesses. And yeah, we need to stay competitive. The second thing that concerns me is the closure of Flourish. In a year or so, when we get our tax reimbursement, I'm not exactly sure what it's called, from the state for monies from marijuana sales in the city. Flourish was a huge part of that. That was a big chunk of money coming back to the city, and I'm concerned that without Flourish around, we're obviously going to see a decrease in that income. Those are my reasons.
I also was in a meeting to bring this forward, also seeing that there is a need that, you know, because of that competition as well. And I guess I have not been able to find a negative or a harm in extending those hours, at least at this point. Do you need a specific, like, how far extending it, or do you want anything, like, are you looking for that as well?
Well, it would involve a change to our ordinance. So if you do have a time in mind for me to write into the proposal, I could have that prepared for next meeting.
That would be for a first reading.
Yes, sir.
For maintaining competitiveness, wouldn't 11 o'clock be?
That's what I think.
I'm okay
That's-
with that.
So,
That's good.
yes, that's why I brought it up. I want to make sure you had that clarity to be ready. So just so that everybody understands how an ordinance change works, is there's a first reading. There, we're not discussing it. There's not, you can do public comment at the regular public comment time, but we don't do the action until the meeting after that. We read it again, and that's when we have our discussion, and that is when that happens. So it's not something that will happen by the next meeting, just to make you fully aware. It's just a first reading only. So just want to make sure that that's clear for everybody, how that process works. Are there any other items that commissioners want to bring forward? All right, we will move on to the consent agenda. May I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion from Commissioner Castleberry with a second from Commissioner Miller. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Moving on to our regular agenda under special orders. We have special order 1, a public hearing to hear and consider comments regarding the establishment of an industrial development district for property at 906 James Street. I now call this public hearing open. You may approach the podium if you wish to speak during the public hearing. Or you can speak on Zoom as well, if anybody is wanting to address it on there. Hearing no comment, I call this public hearing closed. Moving on to special order -2. Public hearing to hear and consider comments regarding the establishment of industrial development district for properties 1357 Division Street. This public hearing. So at this time. Moving on to special order -3, a public hearing to hear and consider comments regarding the establishment of an industrial development district for property at 600 East Beecher Street. I now call this public hearing open. Anybody wishing to speak may do so at this time. Hearing no comment, I call this public hearing closed. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution R 25-036 is from Economic Development. It is a resolution to establish an industrial development district for property at 906 James Street. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Are there any discussion or comments by commissioners at this time?
Just to say, it's great that a local business that's been around for 75 plus years is expanding, and that's great news.
And with a new name, if you didn't notice.
I did not.
They're not Adrian Steele anymore, they're Adrian. They've changed their name to Adrian. It just came out like maybe last week.
See that.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a motion from Commissioner Gauss with a second from Commissioner Roberts. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution R 25-037 is from Economic Development. It is a resolution to establish an industrial development district for property at 1357 Division Street. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any discussion or comments on this resolution? We have a motion from Commissioner Castleberry with a second from Commissioner Roberts. Roll call, please.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts.
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry.
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution R 25-038 is from Economic Development. It is a resolution to establish an industrial development district for property at 600 East Beecher Street. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any commission discussion on this? Hearing none, we have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Gauss. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
motion carried.
Resolution R 25-039 is from the Main Street DDA. It is a resolution to award a bid for the Library Square Playground Project. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support. Are there any comments or discussion on this?
I like the caterpillar.
Yes, you like the very hungry caterpillar?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the pictures of it, they are in the packet, so you can go online and see what the pictures of the playground will be.
Yes, this is very near and dear to my heart. The DDA is very tired of me bringing it up all the time, but it's something that we've heard a lot. I'm an educator of preschool children, so yes, I do have that. But I am in touch with a lot of younger families, and they always are saying, there's nothing downtown for the young children to do. What are we supposed to do with these young children? What are we supposed to do? We want to stay down here. We want to hang out downtown, but there's nothing for our children. So I was so very excited when this was presented to the DDA last week. It's very exciting. Look forward to this and getting something for our younger families to be able to do downtown as well. We have a motion from Commissioner Roberts with a second from Commissioner Castleberry. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
motion carried.
Resolution R 25-040 is from administration. It is a resolution to adopt a policy and procedure for the entry of names into Monument Park. May I get a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Support.
Is there any discussion or commissioner comments on this resolution?
I do. I have a couple of things. Vince did a valiant effort on this ordinance, but I'm not sure it's exactly where it needs to be. It's not very clear. And I just wonder if we could table it and rework it a little bit and bring it back for discussion and adoption at the next meeting. One of my questions is people that should be named in the park on any monuments, should they be City of Adrian residents? Is it okay that they're Lenawee County residents, or do they have to have, what's the relation to a city park that gets their name on a monument in there? So that was just one question that I had reading it over the weekend, and I feel like I don't have enough. I'm not quite there yet with this ordinance. I'm okay with having an ordinance. I just think it needs to be fine-tuned a little bit better.
Commissioner Roberts, is that a motion?
Oh, sorry. Well, we're in discussion right now, so I guess
Make a motion.
I guess I'm making a motion that we table it and fine-tune it for the next.
Support.
Thank you, because I can't make a motion or second, but I was hoping that somebody would want to table. I felt the same way. Valiant effort, and I do feel it just needs to be looked at a little more fine-tuned. So, yes, go ahead.
Commissioner Banky sent me similar comments. So it's based loosely on the street naming policy. But yeah, definitely can rework it for next time.
So, yeah, we're getting there. So we have a motion by Commissioner Roberts with a second by Commissioner Gauss to table Resolution R 25-040. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Castleberry,
Yes.
Commissioner Gauss,
Yes.
Mayor Heath,
Yes.
Commissioner Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Schwartz,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
motion carried.
It is now time for public comment. This is general public comment. It doesn't have to be something on the agenda. And just to reiterate, there is a 3-minute time limit. And for the record, please state your name and place of residence When we have exhausted all public comment inside the city chambers, we will then open it up to the Zoom participants. We will begin now.
Gail Dunaway, City of Adrian. I just want to make a big shout out and a big thank you to our Public Works guys and maybe gals who did a big cleanup on the house. You know where Burke and you know where Vince. It's all squeaky clean now. The Penske truck is gone. He's gone. And yeah, and we're moving on. Another thing I'd like to add, after Lisa's presentation a couple weeks ago about some of the blight they were addressing, I noticed some amazing changes on Butler Street. There was a house that had a huge boat. I mean, we're talking almost yacht size in the yard. And these were narrow lots. It's gone. The house next door had a whole crew of skeletons on the yard. I'm sorry, they did have an Angie sign at one time, but they've now been all relegated to at least the front porch. So the skeleton crew is gone. And I think the only common denominator is we have a new community development person and an interim city administrator. So some things are getting done. Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to read quickly. Sorry. Karen Barbie. I'm here to speak about concerns I have.
Say your place of residence.
Karen Barbie, Adrian.
There we go.
I'm here to speak about the concerns I have regarding any cooperation between local law enforcement and ICE agents. Adrian is home to many immigrants, the majority of whom are following the rules and attempting to gain citizenship. We're talking about friends, students, and coworkers who contribute enormously to our community and economy. Simply being out of status in this country is not a criminal offense. I know that many of you know that. It's a civil offense unless there was a previous removal order that was ignored or they entered without being admitted legally. But according to Pew Research, around 45% of non-citizens originally came with authorization. We're talking about people seeking asylum, students, people with visas. The immigration process is complicated, and many simply have not yet completed the legal requirements. But for most, their mere existence in this country and in this city is not a crime. And while we might want to assume that those aren't the ones being swept up in violent, unconstitutional mass arrests, we would be wrong. There are quotas to meet, and this is no longer about keeping people safe. Currently, there is no legal requirement for local law enforcement to assist ICE. Local police and city officials have a responsibility to keep the residents of this community safe, and that includes all immigrants, undocumented, documented, and out of status, who at least right now are still protected by the Constitution. We do not need to identify as a sanctuary city in order to be one. We need local police to be trained to understand what they need to do and what they do not need to do. Legally, they are not required to assist federal ICE agents, but they are required to uphold the law and ensure masked, violent, and unconstitutional arrests do not happen in this city with their assistance and passive approval. Thank you.
Aaron Cheshire, City of Adrian resident. I'm going to pass 2 papers out. I'll get to what those papers are in a second. But Madam Mayor, Commissioners, and neighbors, on June 14th, 2025, something happened in Adrian that must never happen again. Residents of this city, some uncles, some parents, some dreamers, were detained without warrants, without due process, what we have heard, and without the decency of an explanation to anybody. As this happened right across the street, that very day, we stood in protest. A big reason why people were there was due to these illegal actions that happened right across the street. But the world took notice, and Adrian, Michigan made international headlines. What you have in front of you is the biggest newspaper in Mexico. And it talks right about our little old city. It's called La Jornada, and it ran the headline across its front page that in English means "We have no kings." They named Adrian, Michigan, as a city standing for justice. Photos from our signs in Adrian were the ones across the front of that newspaper. This is who we have always been. I've been working with the Bicentennial Committee over the past year, and I've read and researched Adrian's history, and let me be clear, we do not stand for this. This protest was not out of character, it was a reminder of Adrian's roots. In the 1800s, Laura Smith Haviland helped enslaved people escape to freedom. When armed men came to her home, she told them, I fear neither your weapons nor your threats." Later, our own Governor Croswell, former mayor of Adrian, led the ratification of the 13th Amendment, reformed prisons, and governed with honor and restraint. We've never waited for permission to do what is right. Laura Haviland, she went to become a nationally renowned equal rights advocate and Underground Railroad conductor. With her statue in our city, we cannot stand in pride without doing anything about these happening. These are our citizens. And I know this is difficult, but there are some things that we can do. Some suggestions in the last couple of seconds. Launch a formal investigation into the June 14th detentions. Publish a transparent report within 14 days identifying who authorized these actions. Pass a due process ordinance that guarantees no Adrian resident is detained or transferred without a warrant, legal counsel, and a court review. Please help these nonprofits out. We're dying.
Hi, I'm Jessie. I am a City of Tecumseh resident. I used to be a City of Adrian resident. I'm here tonight to speak about a grave concern that is deeply troubling our community. My first point is unequivocal. The Adrian Police Department has a fundamental duty to protect every single member of our community. This includes our longtime residents and friends who are currently living in fear. We are witnessing what can only be described as Gestapo-like raids, federal employees, often unidentified and in plain clothes, with faces covered and weapons drawn, seizing individuals from our streets, from their cars, without due process. The Adrian Police Department has the authority and indeed the obligation to intervene and stop these actions that are terrifying our neighbors and tearing our community apart. We expect our local law enforcement to uphold the safety and rights of all residents, not stand by while federal agents operate with impunity in our city. Secondly, let me be clear. We, the citizens of Adrian, are not accepting authoritarian rule. We will not tolerate these actions, which appear to be fueled by hateful elements within our community, enabling these egregious acts. People are being threatened, their property is being seized, and they are being forced from their vehicles simply while trying to go about their daily lives, all without warrants or any semblance of legal due process. This is not the Adrian we know. This is not the America we believe in. We refuse to live under a system where anonymous individuals can terrorize our residents without accountability. Finally, let me remind you that our community has already shown up. We have already voiced our collective disapproval of these tactics. We have told you unequivocally that we do not want this happening in our community. And let me assure you, we will continue to show up. We will continue to make our voices heard loudly and clearly until you, our elected representatives, listen to us and take decisive action to protect every single resident of Adrian. This is not just a request, it is a demand for a united community that expects its leadership to stand with its people. Please, do something about this. You can at least require them to show proper warrants, show actual reasons why they're doing this, show some form of due process instead of being told that we know that they're here and that's okay with us, to watch the Adrian Police Department officers watch these two men be detained on the 14th, be forced from their vehicles, no semblance of due process being given. It is so incredibly wrong. That is not what we stand for.
Hello. My name is Allie Quinn. I'm here in Adrian. I am the founder and lead organizer of Hope in Action, a grassroots organization that provides mutual aid and community support right here in Adrian. I'm here tonight to speak on a grave violation of civil rights that took place in our community just this past Saturday. While I was at Comstock Park preparing for our peaceful protest, 4 members of our organization witnessed plainclothes agents detain individuals directly across the street in front of the Dollar Tree. These agents refused to identify themselves. When asked if they had a warrant, they responded, "We don't need one." Every vehicle that was used had expired license plates. I reviewed the footage, I've spoken with the witnesses, I've seen it for myself. And here's what's worse. Adrian police officers were sitting across the street, watching it happen. They did nothing. This is not a rumor, this is not a misunderstanding. This happened in broad daylight in our town while law enforcement looked the other way. Let's be clear, this level of secrecy, intimidation, and lawlessness is new. Past administrations, including Obama and Biden's, deported millions, but they followed the procedure. There were warrants, uniforms, accountability. What we saw on Saturday wasn't an immigration enforcement, it was a kidnapping. At Hope in Action, we believe in public safety, but also in due process. Yes, violent criminals should be removed, but no one in this country should be disappeared without a name, a warrant, or a badge. Everyone on U.S. soil has rights. Everyone. That is not radical, that is the Constitution. I'm asking you, what is Adrian's policy on ICE cooperation? Will you condemn these illegal, unaccountable detentions? Will you act to make Adrian a place where fear does not go unchecked? Because silence is complicity, and the community is watching. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marcy Van Black, and I'm a resident of Deerfield. And I'm here tonight because I'm concerned about what's happening in our community as well. On Friday, there was an ICE raid in Adrian, and 4 people were taken. Saturday, right before the No Kings rally, there were 2 more arrests made at the Dollar Tree, as you've heard. And 4 more people were taken from the Alpha Coney Island later in the day. Yesterday, ICE was at homes on Mackenzie Street, again trying to take more families. From my understanding, all of these people were going through the legal channels of immigration. And today, ICE was at Cancun and Adrian and Alpha in Blissfield. When asked for a warrant, they said they didn't need one and their vehicles had expired plates. My concern is, how do we know that these supposed ICE agents aren't domestic terrorists? They have no qualifying credentials, are masked, and again, are driving vehicles with expired plates. We need the local authorities to be verifying that these are legit ICE agents and that our friends and neighbors are getting due process. This is beyond scary and infuriating, as these thugs could easily be impersonating government officials and, again, domestic terrorist groups like the KKK, Proud Boys, or Oath Keepers. The wife that was left behind on Saturday in the Dollar Tree parking lot had no way to get into her vehicle, which was running with her spare keys in it. APD had to let her into her car. Common sense says that prior to the 2 men being taken, it should have been verified that they were legit and the car turned off, so this situation could have been prevented. This poor woman is on dialysis and has no one to take care of her. Is this really how we want to treat our neighbors? Adrian and all of Lenawee County needs to know that we do not want ICE here kidnapping our neighbors and that this is unacceptable. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lindsay, Lenawee County resident from Tipton. I've come to Adrian my whole life. I'm here for the same reasons as you've already heard. But one big thing that I can't stop thinking about are the kids. Do any of you have kids, grandkids, possibly? I have a child, I'm an educator, I think about the kids. I want you to picture your kids and think about their faces. I want you to think of the joy you see when they're doing something that they really like. Think of all their giggles and their smiles and their cuddles and their hugs. Okay, now I want you to think of their face after hearing when they get picked up at daycare or at daycare that, I'm sorry, but mommy's not coming home today. ICE picked her up on her way to work. Or, sorry, but your dad won't be coming home. ICE picked him up at the construction site he was working at. Or, we're trying to figure out who to call and come and get you because mom and dad were taken by ICE while picking strawberries today. Think of your child or your grandchild. Think of your child's babysitter or teacher or a neighbor delivering this news to your child. Picture a CPS worker or police officer telling your child that you and your spouse won't be coming home. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever felt the devastation of losing someone suddenly, and I understand that this is not the same as someone passing away, but the emotional damage of losing your parent suddenly is irreparable. Irreparable. And now it's happening here in Lenawee County, in Adrian, daily. And for what? These people aren't criminals. They're not gangsters. These are the guys that change your tires. These are the men that spend all day in the hot sun replacing your roof. These are the people that pick your favorite Michigan-grown fruits and vegetables. These are the men and women who cook and serve your food at your favorite Mexican restaurant. Their children are your children's friends. They go to your church. They didn't sneak into the country. They have visas and green cards and work permits. They are part of this community and they're being kidnapped and imprisoned with no warrants, no due process, just suddenly stripped of legal status by a changed rule and officers with overinflated egos and chips on their shoulders. And I'm saying that as the daughter of a sheriff's deputy. Our neighbors need help. Please do what you can to stop this trauma that ICE and the current administration has unleashed on our community. Thank you.
My name is Molly St. Clair and I live in Adrian. I don't have a whole lot to say. I would like permission to approach you because the only thing I want to ask is that you take a look at his face. These are the kids that we are working with every day from September to June. He's still in my class. He wasn't there today.
My name is Soli Sanchez. I live in Adrian Township. I had nothing prepared for today. I actually don't like talking in front of people ever, but I'm really sorry. I can see the hurt in your eyes. Speaking of the hardworking men that are taking the hard jobs that nobody here wants, I can guarantee that. I have actually spent half of a day out in those fields. My dad taught me a lesson a long time ago and took me out to those fields and said, if you don't want to try hard in life, this is what you might end up doing, which is hard work. I lasted a couple of hours and I begged him to come and pick me up and I started pushing carts at Meyer instead. But anyhow, those people's lives are not any less worthy than yours. I want to know what you are doing to help protect those people. I want to know in your heart if you think that you are doing the absolute best that you can for the citizens of your city. Do you look in the mirror and know that you're a good person? I'm not expecting perfection. None of us are perfect, but I can look in the mirror and say that I'm on the correct side of history. I can look in the mirror and say that I'm sticking up for these folks. I just happen to be born here. I'm not any better than anybody else. People look at me and I'm told to go back to where I came from all the time, all the time. I'm from Adrian. My mom is from Adrian. My dad has never stepped foot out of this country. Where would you like me to go? This is how we treat each other. This is how we treat people. When did this become okay? I don't understand how this is something that is so radical. Why are we the radical ones when all we want is to treat people with dignity and respect? If somebody came up to me without a badge, plain clothes, expired tags, do you think that I'm just going to get into their car with them? If somebody came up to me and accused me of being here illegally, and there's cops across the street doing absolutely nothing, why are you okay with that? And if you're not, why do they think that you are? And why do they continue to do nothing? You need to tell them that they cannot do that. We cannot feel unprotected in this city. I've lived here except for going to school in the UP, living a couple of years in Grand Rapids. This is my home. These people that we're not protecting are my friends. They're my patients. I'm not going to turn my back on them. And I hope that none of you do either.
This is my first time public speaking, so pardon me. My name is Evelyn Quinn. I'm 16 years old and I help lead Youth in Action, the youth branch of Hope in Action. We are a space for kids and teens to speak up, organize boldly, and build something better than the world we've inherited. I may be young, but I understand what justice looks like and what it doesn't. On Saturday, I was setting up for our protest at Comstock Park when I saw something I will never forget. I saw members of our team suddenly taking off toward a group of Hispanic men who were being detained by plainclothes agents across the street. No uniforms, no warning, no explanation. I didn't know what was happening at first, but the urgency on their faces told me everything. Something was wrong and something was dangerous. And even before I understood the full story, I felt it. This was not how safety is supposed to look. Later, when I watched the footage and I heard what those agents said, "We don't need a warrant," my stomach dropped. I saw fear in the eyes of people who live here, people who contribute to this town, and people who deserve better. We're told that if we need help, we can trust law enforcement, but what happens when they watch injustice unfold and stay silent? What happens when the people meant to protect us only protect some of us? I have grown up hearing words like fairness, freedom, and rights, but what I have learned from organizing with Hope in Action is that those words only matter if we fight to make them real. We at Youth in Action believe in curiosity, courage, and community. We believe that everyone, no matter how old they are, where they come from, or what language they speak, deserve dignity, deserves safety, and deserves to live without fear. When you let federal agents snatch people from our streets with no ID, no warrant, and no explanation, you are not keeping us safe. You are teaching us to be afraid of our own town, and I refuse to grow up afraid. I refuse to stay silent when I see something wrong. The values we teach our children, kindness, accountability, fairness, to mean something, they have to apply outside the classroom, outside our homes, in this room too, right here, right now. We're often told that we are the future, but the truth is we are also the present. We are already organizing, we are already resisting, and we are already leading. And we're asking you, will you lead with us? Will you rise to meet the moment, or will you back into silence and comfort? So I'm here to ask you, do you believe young people deserve to live in a town where law enforcement respects human rights? Do you believe in due process for all, not just for those who were born here? And will you speak out against what happened, or will you let us grow up in silence and fear? We are not too young to notice, we are not too young to organize, and we are not too young to demand better. We are the next generation, and we are watching what you do. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Nora Quinn. I'm 21 years old and I'm a proud resident of Adrian for the last 5 years now. I have never spoken publicly before over anything at all, and not in front of a panel of people like this who have the power to change anything for me. But as a young and up-and-coming woman in this world, I deserve to feel safe. Safe to have a family with whoever I choose. Safe to have my children roam the street without men, without any form of identification, picking strangers up for the same reason that they're out there. It's not fair and it's not right. I was setting up for a peaceful protest Saturday morning, as per usual, and watched the cop that just spoke to me and wished me luck drive down and witness people being kidnapped, and he allowed it to happen. I don't appreciate the two-faced lies coming from within our own department, and I should feel safe driving through the streets of Adrian knowing who's behind what wheels. The cops should know what plates are registered and what aren't. We should know who is right and who's wrong. And it's not fair that people that are undocumented and illegal are being picked up and detained when men that are undocumented and unwarranted are kidnapping them. All I ask is that we are trying harder for a better tomorrow and a safe Adrian, because we all live here. None of us are safe. And what happens here, what happens in our White House, and what happens in every part of the political party affects all of us. And we cannot keep sitting here acting like we're untouched by the problems right in front of our faces. Just please take solid consideration what everybody has said here today, because we are all witnesses of what's happening right in front of us. We don't deserve this. And we ask for freedom and respect and liberty and justice for all, like you had us pledge to when we came in here today. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maria Roberts. I will be quick. I didn't prepare anything. I really just wanted to go on record and be another voice.
Please, your residence.
Adrian, Maria Roberts, Adrian, Michigan. Born and raised, born at Bixby before it was no longer Bixby. Like my daughter was born at Bixby. I had her wear the little onesie. I have 3 kids. They've been out at these demonstrations with us. They've been peaceful. They've been beautiful. When we left on Saturday, I asked my kids how they felt, because adults, we perceive safety one way, but kids perceived another level of safety. And I said, how did you feel surrounded by all those people today? Did you feel you were in a safe place? Did you feel you were loved? And they did, surrounded by those people. But what those people were there for is exactly what we're here for today. And what we saw before our demonstration, like it goes back to what you're saying, that it's not just the big world, it's little Adrian. We are over 20%. Our census is over 20% Hispanic and Latino. It matters. I came in here, I was so excited to see that you have the translation going, because you recognize that we have people who are different than us. They make our city. And so I know that the power that you have and the power that the police have, it's complicated with the federal, but the basic minimum is that we need a plan in place when these men appear and have no documentation. Because I have ADHD and I'm a rule follower. I don't want to get in trouble. I was the teacher's pet. And if a man was coming at somebody without any type of documentation and saying that they were a federal agent or some type of authority, but they couldn't prove it, I would run, and I would take that person and I would run with them. Like, that's, who's the authority? There is no authority. And so I hope that the police officers have some type of plan in place that they can come up with that says, hey, if we don't have proof of anything, our job first is to protect our citizens. That's it. And I just want to be another voice on the record saying that I want to see that happening. So thank you so much for your time.
Hello. I was born in Houston, Texas, but I live in Adrian. And my dad's from El Salvador. My adopted dad's from El Salvador. And my mom was born and raised in Adrian.
Marcia, can you say your name though?
Oh, Marcia, sorry. And Friday, my dad was on his way home from work, and we're actually getting siding putting on our house. And we have a crew that came from Lansing to work on our house. But then I looked on Facebook, seeing what's going on with the ice. And our workers are there to do their job. We saw that post. My dad called me. He's like, go out there, tell the workers to stop, because ice is in town. And so I did. I went out there. I spoke Spanish to them. I'm not good at it, but I tried. And I went out there and I told them, so they stopped. They called their bosses and told them, and their bosses said, okay, we'll go home. 10 minutes later, after they leave, we saw the ice truck go by the house. And we're scared. And it shouldn't be that way. Nobody should live in fear. We're all living in fear, and it's not fair. And Friday, Saturday, I was getting dressed up to go to the protest. Get a call saying about the ice. So my mom and dad said, stay home. We don't feel safe. We won't be safe at the house. So I stayed at home and be with my parents just for my safety. And I really wanted to be there. But this is how our life is, I guess. That's all.
Hola, Joaquin Ramos from here in Adrian. As a community, we regularly say that we value our Hispanic members. As a country, we say that we value everyone as regardless of their status and that due process is for everyone. Here we have a tragedy happen, and here we have numerous supporters, numerous of your constituents coming out here to speak and make their voices heard. People who you may have never seen before but have been active long before this. I think it's safe to say that everyone wants to see you guys act in what's the best for human rights, what's best for all of our people. So I hope that you'll take this to heart, see the pain and the fear in people's eyes, and work to make Adrian a safer, better place. I did not grow up in school pledging allegiance for a flag that will not protect everyone. I did not learn that this country is about actually caring to see this happen. So I hope that you will act act in the best way to protect our people. These tragedies can't go on. You know this is wrong, and I look forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Jarek Tim, Adrian resident. I came with a prepared statement today, but I feel like every single person that came up before me did more justice to what's going on than I ever could. I just wanted to be another voice with them. Thank you.
Nancy Pello, Adrian, Michigan. Our youngest son was born in South Korea, and I have other brown people in my family. Never in my life did I think I would need to have his naturalization paperwork on my phone, just in case. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Amelia Pizzagna. I'm a resident of Adrian. And I'm just going to actually read a poem. If the military's loyalty were to lie with the president rather than the Constitution or its precedents, if U.S. immigration and custom enforcements kidnapped and broke into houses without warrants, if mothers and fathers were being dragged from their homes and branded as criminals, their children left alone, if migrants were detained without due process and human dignity, I wonder who I would be. If it was 1947 and Senator McCarthy superheaded a campaign against the Communist Party, but thousands of civilians were detained without warrants based on general suspicions, would I think it abhorrent? Or if I lived in Salem in 1692, the clergyman hung the wrongly accused, would I yell witch with the rest of the colony? I wonder who I would be. Had I been alive in the Second World War, when there was fear of espionage on the American shores, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the president, incarcerated anyone of Japanese descent and took those American residents to internment camps, searched their homes, seizing what they considered contraband. They froze their assets, branded them detainees. I wonder who I would be. If I lived in Birmingham in 1963 and there were protests against segregation policies, would I raise my voice? Would I rise to my feet?
or would I cross to the other side of the street? Or if I was in Washington that very same year and there was a national march, would I appear? Or would I think, oh, well, that doesn't affect me? I wonder who I would be. If I was at Stonewall on June 28th, would I resist? Would I enlist? Would I run the other way? If police raided bars because two women were dancing, or beat two men for loving, for romancing, if I saw a trans woman being arrested just simply because she was wearing a dress, would I say something or would I pretend I didn't see? I wonder who I would be. If there were rallies being held and everyone had signs that said mass deportations of the people subscribed to the idea of God's country that would be made great, I guess I would say I didn't know God was an American. But I remember something about loving your neighbor, and there was something else in those biblical papers, something about everyone being equal in the eyes of thee. I wonder who you would be. I wonder who I would be. I wonder.
Hi, my name is Brian Vish. I'm new around here. I really just want to pop up because my last name, Vish, it's Polish, W-I-S-Z. That's how you spell it where my family's from. You won't find that name outside the U.S. because all of them are dead. Killed the last time people like ICE showed up. I'm only here because my family decided to leave Poland in 1917 when the Bolsheviks showed up. So that's two narrow misses that I had, and I wouldn't be here. Keep that in mind.
Ben Mormon, City of Adrian resident, Madam Mayor, Commissioners, Commissioner Schwartz, glad to see you. I have stuff written. I don't need to convince you to do something. I know you will. I know you're good people. I know you all very, very much care about the people who live here. It's my video that's been viewed 11,000 times by people all across, I don't even know anymore. It's been my job to regurgitate facts and information since this started on the 11th of June when somebody called ICE because someone spoke in Spanish at Walmart. These people are all related, all six. They're a family. One of the guys that was taken the other day, his name's Rodolfo. I pieced this together through the Facebook messages I get from cousins who are scared or people who watched. They all had visas. They were there to get their daughter a quinceañera decorations. And she ran when they called from Mackenzie Street to the Dollar Tree to watch. And I can't stop hearing these screams, so I'm gonna play it. I know you've probably seen it, but it just needs to be here. So it's only 30 seconds. Also, sorry for the swearing.
Hands off her. Get your hand off her. Get your hands off. Where's your signed warrant? Where's your signed warrant? Where's your signed warrant? Where's your badge number? Where's your badge number? Hey, stop grabbing. Where's your badge number? Stop. Hey, out of here. Back up. Badge number, last name, anyone? Federal warrant? Warrant at all? Nothing? Nothing. You're cowards. Fucking cowards.
So I was there. I was in between them. Aaron was there. We tried. We couldn't do anything. I know you can. I know you will. Thank you.
I don't have anything prepared. I just got here as fast as I could and I didn't take the time, and everybody's doing a great job of.
Can you just state your name and place?
So sorry. My name is Samara and I live in Manitou Beach. I saw Ben's video earlier and the sounds of this mother and wife wailing in anguish, I don't think I'll ever forget. And they weren't doing anything wrong. And definitely didn't deserve that. And this should not be happening on any streets, but especially not in Adrian when 20% of the population is Hispanic, and it should not be happening when our law enforcement swore to protect and serve the community first and foremost. Whoever they were, I mean, we say it's ICE, but nobody knows. They said they didn't need to show any identification. They said they didn't need a warrant. None of that seems reasonable, logical, or legal to me. And there has to be a process of accountability with that. And if we don't have to, by law, assist them, we don't have to enable them either. And I think it's really important that we don't. I mean, they drove up in vehicles that were unmarked with expired plates. I don't know if that's normal for government vehicles to have expired plates, but we don't even know if they were who they say they were, and we don't even know where these victims are. But we know who they left behind. On Sunday, the same family, it was relayed to us that ICE was back on Mackenzie Street at a house, and they were trying to get into the house. They were knocking. They wanted to be let in, and the residents of the house were absolutely terrorized. They were accused of hiding people, which they were not doing, and they knew their rights, and they did not let ICE in, and the situation was over without incident safely, and the girl was safe with her family.
Your time is up. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, Josh Frank, City of Adrian resident. I know you guys are used to being talked at quite a lot. Like you sit up here, people come, give them the 2 cents. Sometimes they chew you out. Sometimes they hear things, or they say things you want to hear. Sometimes they say things you don't want to hear. I really hope that you're listening and processing how scared everyone is and how crazy it is to be living in a time. It sounds like this is a chapter out of an Anne Frank diary. Like, that's not something I thought I would ever experience. And I mean, as a white man, I do have a lot of privilege. There's a lot I do not need to be afraid of at all. But it's crazy. It's crazy that people are living in fear and don't want to leave their houses in this town, in this state, in this country. It's 2025. It's like Nazi Germany was so far ago, but it's like the older I get, the closer I realize the past is. And I don't know if the city and the police department are working on a statement to release following the events of this weekend. I hope you are. And I hope both the city of Adrian and the police department are going to put forth policies, procedures, and let people know what rights they have and what you can do to look out for them. Because this is This is what city government is supposed to do. This is what police departments are supposed to do. You're supposed to look out for the people that live here. And like with everyone saying, with everything that happened this weekend, we don't know if that was ICE or not. And if it wasn't, how do we find these people? I mean, I really hope that the city and the police department will issue a statement, and you guys, if you're not already working on it, I hope you are. And I'm not sure what all you can do, but I hope you let us know what that is, what you can do and what you will do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Betsy Kerwin, and I'm from, I know some of you up here, I'm from Hillsdale, Michigan, or Osseo, actually. I asked if it was okay if I speak, because I'm not from Adrian. I've worked here for many years. I love the city. I just was inspired by the gentleman that just spoke, and he mentioned that Nazi Germany was so far away, and it's not in my world. My grandfather was an activist during Hitler's time. My mother was, she was brought up in Karlsruhe, Germany. I still have family there. And there's a lot of scars in my family from that time. My grandfather was ripped from his house in the winter, no shoes, no shirt. He was an activist in his little community, kind of like we are here. And a neighbor, somebody in their area, ran up the road and said, "You got to get out of here, Gestapo's coming." He yelled to my grandmother, "Throw everything you have in the outhouse, all the files, all the pictures, all the notes, everything." They dragged him away, threw him in the back of a panel truck, and he was in prison for about 3 years. He didn't have a trial or anything. Luckily, he got out. I think because he was considered a white Aryan, he was lucky to be who he was genetically. But those scars ran deep in my family, and we still feel them now in my family. That is my legacy. So I just want to tell you that Hitler's time is not so far away, and the fascism is not something off in the future. And I see it happening here. I see it happening in my own community, and it shakes me to my core, because I remember my mother telling me stories about how tragic that was and how horrible that was for her to experience that. She watched her father being taken away, never knowing if she was going to see him again. He suffered many problems because of that incident. Mental health issues, depression, alcohol abuse. I mean, those things ripple out for generations. So what's happening to the children now will ripple out for generations. We're doing damage that will last lifetimes. It'll take generations to fix it, and I don't know if we ever can. So I'm not asking you to do anything. I just want to let you know I was inspired to say this because it's not that far away, and we need to remember what happened back then, and we need to make sure it never happens again. Thank you for your time.
I'm Patch and I'm from Tecumseh, and I just want to let everyone know that there are these little red cards and then these little white cards. And they have Spanish and English on them. You can get them at the library. Many of us also carry them if you want them. But this is rights, and this is how to get a lawyer. So if you would like to get them and pass them in the community, that would be great. Thank you.
We will now open up public comment to the Zoom participants.
Hi, my name's Katie Morgan, City of Adrian resident. And back in 2018, I had the privilege of being the chair temporarily for the Human Relations Commission for the city. So pretty invested in what goes on in this town. A lot of the people ahead of me have said amazing things, great stories. This is a devastating thing that's happening in our town right now. So all I'm going to say is if you can't see it from a simple, these are human beings, humanitarian approach. I do encourage you to look at it from a financial, economic, and public safety approach. You can buy fake ice vests on Amazon and get it shipped to you on Prime and get it the next day. So the fact that individuals are able to approach someone, threaten to pull them out of their vehicle if they don't get out voluntarily, and not have to provide a warrant or any proof of their claimed authority is very scary. And then from a financial and economic standpoint, I mean, this is going to be hard on businesses. This is going to be hard. I mean, these people contribute a lot to our economy. They spend money here, they live here. So if you can't look at it from a humanitarian approach, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep showing up to meetings and advocating for these people. This isn't going to go away. So I really, really encourage all of you to sit with this and decide what you can do to make it better. Thank you.
Sorry, I was trying to give it some time because we don't want to cut people off and sometimes it takes them a while to unmute. So I was just making sure. Commissioners, you have miscellaneous reports in your packet. Are there in minutes? Are there any questions or comments on those? So then we will move on to commissioner comments. I do see that the signs for the bicentennial are here. We asked Adrian Public Schools to have a little contest and they did. And there was a high school winner, a middle school winner, and an elementary school winner. And these 3 designs are available. You can put them and promote the bicentennial in your yard and show your Adrian pride for our bicentennial, which is coming up in just a couple weeks. We've had many generous donors to the bicentennial. And so these signs are free. They originally, when the idea was brought up, we thought we were going to have to charge to cover the cost, but through the generous donations, we were able to print off signs. If you don't want to take one to put in your yard tonight, they are available at City Hall across from where you pay your water bill, or you can also get them at the Adrian Public School office as well, which is located, you feel like you're entering the high school, but you go to the right as opposed to the left to go to the high school office. But the Adrian Public School Board office also has them. But we are very appreciative for Annie Howard for all the work she put into getting this to happen. And yeah, so I just wanted to let you know why these signs are here. You'll see them outside too as well.
As part of the bicentennial, I also brought some window posters for businesses. So if you own a local business that has a lot of traffic, I have a few of those that you're welcome to take and promote the bicentennial. And once again, we are still looking for volunteers. If you would like to volunteer, you can go to the website or you can come see me afterwards and I can point you in the right direction for that. So thank you.
Just to let you know, you have been heard. Ben knows, I saw his video. I was texting Ben within seconds of seeing the video. And Aaron, I right away was like, what is going on? Where is this at? What's happening? So, we are aware our hearts are heavy. That is why it's very quiet up here. I'm telling you, we understand. We're gonna have that discussion and explore. We don't know what we can do and can't do, and we're gonna look into that, but it is being heard. Yes, it is very scary. I watched the video and was very scared, and I watched it again, and then I watched it again because it was very frightening. And I have a lot of family that are Hispanic, that speak Spanish in my immediate family. So I do understand that, not right now, sorry. So, we hear you. It's not, we're listening, we hear you. It's just, we got to figure out, because it is above us, and so we got to figure out what we could, if there's anything we can do and what we can do, so. May I get a motion to adjourn? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.